Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can make your first 1K online with appointment setting, even if you have no experience. Because yeah, maybe you know what appointment setting already is, but you don't know how to actually land roles in 2025 headed into 2026 so you can actually get paid. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you should be doing step by step to land your first client. And then when you do land that first client, what you actually need to be doing day to day to make money. No theory, no fluff, just the exact steps that I help beginners implement to start making their first 3 to 5K per month. So most people never make their first dollar online because they honestly have no idea where to start. They hear about appointment setting, they hear about closing, and that you can get financial, time, and location freedom, but they have no idea where to start in terms of finding their first client with no experience. Then they start tricking themselves into believing that they need a ton of experience or they need to be the best appointment setter on the market to land good sales positions, and this isn't true. The reality is, if you can help a business owner save time, make money, and help them clean up their inbox so they don't have to do it all themselves, you will land positions. If you're able to help them make more money, they will give you a fair shot. You don't need to be a setter with thousands and thousands of dollars of cash collected and years of experience. While these things definitely will help you in the future, you don't need this as a complete beginner. And this is exactly what I'm going to break down in this video for you guys. First things first, I'm going to break down a couple ways that you can find business owners that are actually going to be likely to be hiring appointment setters. This will mean that you can save time by not having to reach out to hundreds and hundreds of business owners that aren't actually hiring setters in the first place. Then I'm going to show you what you need to be sending to these people in order to achieve the highest likelihood of getting them to respond. And then when they do respond, I'm going to show you how you can make persuasive loom videos so that when people watch these loom videos, they want to actually jump on an interview with you and give you a shot. And then when you do start landing these positions, I'm going to give you a loose overview of what you should be saying as a DM setter or a phone setter to actually perform your job well and do well. By the end of this video, you're going to know exactly what you need to be doing in terms of who you should be reaching out to, what you should be saying, what you should say when they respond back to you, and then how do you perform your role when you do start landing roles and making money for yourself. I'll also show you at the very end of this video how you can use something that my students are using to make this process even more powerful. Now, one of the biggest problems I see in the marketplace is people thinking that they need to reach out to big influencers, people with tens or hundreds of thousands of followers on social medias. The problem with reaching out to big accounts like this is these people are likely to not even see your message in the first place. Is there really any point at all in sending an outreach message if the person isn't going to even see your message, let alone even read through it? The reality is, as a complete beginner, you should not be reaching out to people with massive followings. Your sweet spot is honestly going to be people in the range of like 2,000 followers or subscribers to like 10,000 at the most. And the benefit of this to you is obviously when you send these people a message, you are much likely to actually receive a response back. Obviously, the con to it though is these people might be running smaller businesses, and so you might actually not make as much money inside of the positions that you land working with these people, but the entire goal is to get you to a point where you have experience under your belt so that you can land the bigger offers. So let me show you a couple ways that you can go in and actually find these business owners. So the first step here is finding good offers, and finding good offers is the most important part of the entire process, because the reality about appointment setting and sales is that you could be the best appointment setter in the world, but if you're on a shit offer, you're still going to make shit money. And so, as you guys probably know at this point, the most three common niches are the health niche, the wealth niche, and the relationships niche. And here's exactly what you should be looking for in terms of people in order to work with inside of this niche. So yes, you should be working with people from the ranges of 2 to 10,000 followers. So this could either be like their Instagram account, their YouTube channel, their Twitter account, stuff like that. You want to work with smaller people in the beginning. You also want to work with people, even though they are smaller and maybe their business is relatively newer, you want to work with people that have testimonials and student results. If not, it's kind of cooked. Don't work with them. They might either be scamming people or they're just too new to business for it to even make sense. And you want to as well work with somebody who's at least a minimum of a few months running their offer. If they just started their business yesterday, it's not going to make sense. You're not going to make good money. And so these are things that you absolutely need to look for. Obviously, as well, you want to work with a business that's selling high ticket, not low ticket, but these are probably the most important ones. You want to avoid people that aren't getting student results, that aren't posting content consistently, or they have some sort of weird or payment structure, or they have like 5 different offers or like 8 different things that they're trying to sell. They're trying to sell a low ticket thing. They're trying to sell an ebook. They're trying to sell coaching calls. They're trying to sell a one-on-one program. Like if they're selling 18 different things, that means they're probably not making money with any of them. So these are things that you should be looking for to reject in somebody. Now, in terms of being able to find these people, I'm going to show you 2 main ways, but what you want to start with first is you actually want to go into AI and you want to say something like, hey, what are the top 10 biggest e-learning sub niches of people that are selling a coaching program or an online course? What are the top 10 biggest niches of these people that they're going to be talking about in 2026. And so let's go ahead and send this and see what AI says. It's going to give a summarized report based on thousands and thousands of data points. And so these are a couple different ones. You see AI and AI automation. You see digital marketing, social media, content creator growth, influencer marketing, stuff like that. You see like tech skills, tech programming, even like tech sales is good. Personal finance, investing, wealth building. This is a very common niche. Health, fitness, wellness. This is always going to be in demand because there's always going to be fat people in the world. Number 6, soft skills, career, leadership, remote work skills. 7, digital content creation. So basically what you want to just do is you want to be looking for a couple different sub niches of like growing sub niches that are going to be happening in 2026. And so here's like a list of 10. You could go even further, but really this is a really good list. And so you want to be able to take this and use this to your advantage. Now, this is what we're going to do. Now, the first method to go ahead and find clients that you can work with as an appointment setter is by taking all of these sub niches here, finding creators talking about these sub niches on YouTube, cross-referencing from that YouTube channel to their Instagram, finding their Instagram and sending them a message there. And this method is a little bit more complicated. You actually have to do a little bit of research. You got to find people. It's going to take a little bit more time, but there's going to be way less competition in messaging these people as opposed to you just finding them regularly on Instagram. So let's take just an example here with like AI automation, for example. Again, we're looking for people who are selling some sort of high ticket coaching program, high ticket mentorship, high ticket service. And so what we want to be looking up is like not how to do this stuff for ourselves, but we want to be looking up for gurus that are talking about how to do this for other people. So if we simply look up something like how to make money with AI, you're going to find a long list of different people that are likely selling coaching, selling some sort of high ticket service. Like literally just look in the description, apply for one-on-one coaching, Iman, watch this next. It's, redirects to another video that sells this program. Here's how to cash out on the AI gold rush, selling something here, most likely. Jordan Welsh, save your seat at a free live AI masterclass. So you get the point, right? You're going to find people that are selling some sort of high ticket coaching program or service like that. But the problem is when you look up something so vague like this, you're going to find the bigger accounts, the people with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, or at least tens of thousands. And again, we want to sit in the range of like 2 to 10,000 followers. So how do we actually do that? If you actually go to filters here and you literally just find people that have posted either in the last hour or today, you can find a lot smaller accounts that you can potentially work with. And so just by doing this, you can look for a lot better people. So I scrolled down a little bit and I found this guy, Clarence Knapp, who got 105 views in 9 hours and he has about 7K subscribers. So this is kind of like in the ideal range that you want to look for because he's not getting too many views to the point where, he's going to have tons and tons of people reaching out to him, but it's also big enough to show that he's actually making good money. And to prove this, I actually clicked on his video. I looked in the description. I went to his school page and you can see here, he's making decent money in his school program by itself. It's like 10 to 20K per month doing this. And there's likely he's selling some sort of high ticket offer off the back of this. So what I would probably do is I would message him on Instagram. I would find his Instagram either just by looking up his name or doing some digging and finding it there. And I would send him an outreach message. I'll talk about what you need to be sending to these people in a second, but this is just one example of how you can find people. If we want to get even more specific here, we can look into something like how to make money with an AI agency. So let's do with an AI agency. And let's try to find people that way. Here, since it's like a little bit smaller, it actually reset the filters anyways. So we might have to look into this a little bit. Ads by Dan, though, this might be a good one here with 11.9K subscribers. As you can see here, we popped open this video and you can see here, work with me one-on-one in my team to make money with AI. So this is likely some sort of application funnel for a high ticket offer. And then you can see his Instagram here for another person to reach out to. Another person here, Ahmed, not going to try to pronounce that last name, but 1.5K subscribers, smaller channel. But if we pop this open and we look, you can see here he's selling some sort of free school community and he has this like challenge thing, join my AI freedom agency program here. If you click this, you can tell it's a VSL funnel, it's an application funnel, all that fun stuff. So this is basically how you can go ahead and find people. Now, you can do this for a lot more people and you can keep digging, but then again, you can also replicate this for, the 9 other niches that we have here and keep doing your research that way. If you needed specific things too, you could even take one of these sub niches that AI has given you here and you could try to break it down even more. So I first looked up like how to make money with AI. Then I said how to make money with an AI agency. You could even then do like how to make money with AI automation. That would be another thing that you could like look into and you can find a lot more people with that. So like there's a good chance that these sub niches that it's given you, like specifically for like health, fitness, wellness, Like you can break these down into even more sub niches, and you can get even more specific to find like these smaller accounts that are giving advice and giving a ton of advice in this like one fraction in this one fractal of the market, so that you can find more people to work with. Now, just a little piece of advice here. Obviously, you're going to be messaging these people on Instagram. So before I even tell you like what you should be sending to these people, make sure that you have a good profile picture. Make sure you have a good like profile setup and a good profile put together. You don't need anything too crazy. You don't need to be driving fast cars, living in a penthouse, but you need some sort of visually appealing and aesthetic profile for yourself. I'll give you a secret about the marketplace that none of these other dickheads on YouTube will talk about. And it's the fact that when you're sending outreach to people, most people don't even read the message you send to them. The first thing that they do is they actually look at your profile first. And if they think your profile is ugly, if they think it's unprofessional, if they think it doesn't make sense for you to work with them, they're not going to even read their message and they're just going to ignore you. If they look at your profile though and see that you're a good fit, then they're actually going to take your message seriously. So your profile actually matters more than the message that you send to people. And a lot of people get this totally wrong. Now, the second method for finding people is to actually literally just use Instagram itself and to find people through Instagram. Now, the one thing that I'll say about finding people through Instagram is there's likely going to be a little bit more competition with this, but you're going to be able to find people easier. So it's kind of like a trade-off with how you actually do this. Now, the first thing that you want to do is you want to find a profile like this of somebody that's selling a high ticket offer. Again, this was one of the guys that I found from YouTube, so I know for sure that he's good to go, but you could also just do the same exact thing just by looking people up on Instagram, or even looking up the keywords that we were talking about earlier with like an AI agency, AI automation, and finding these people on Instagram. Your main goal is just to find one person at the beginning and then build your entire list of people that you're going to be reaching out to off the back of that. Here's how we actually go about doing this. So once you find one person, there's a couple things that we can do to find more people. Number one, you can go into the people that they're following. And so if we look here, Gordon, TJR, Kishin, like you're going to find a lot more people because these people tend to network with each other, these people that are selling a course or a coaching program. And so there's a good chance that there's like a mutual connection, or these people are following each other. And so with this, you can literally just scroll through the people that they're following to find more accounts that are going to be a good fit. Again, you want to work in the range of like roughly 2 to 10,000 followers. So this is actually a slightly bigger account, but just do some digging here and you might be able to find a couple people that then when you find those people and you open up their profiles, you can rinse and repeat the same process to their profiles. Another thing that you can do from here is you can hit this little like plus icon, or on your phone, you can hit the little drop down caret. And this is going to give you a list of like 15 to 20 other accounts that Instagram thinks are similar to this account. So from there, surely you can just find a couple of these people, pop open their profile and do the exact same thing to them. And this should give you pools and pools of people where you're going to actually have the ability to start reaching out to 10, 20, 30, 50 people per day that are qualified for you to actually go in and work with. So now once you're able to find people consistently and once you're able to optimize your profile so that you can start sending messages out to these people, the next thing you need to do is you need to actually start sending messages to these people. And now a lot of people trip up over this and they overcomplicate this, but it's really straightforward at this point. The thing that most people mess up when they're doing this is they try to just go for the home run right away in the first message. They try to just send a message to these people and just like immediately try to get hired or get on an interview right away with this message. Literally, your only goal with sending out this first message is to just get responses, because if you can get responses from business owners, that means you're in business, and that just means it's a matter of time before you land your first position. Once you're getting responses, then you send your pitch. And so the goal is to optimize for responses first, then sending your pitch. And here's how you do this. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to pitch a Loom video intro. And this is by far the most important part of the process. And so a lot of people try to overcomplicate this. Again, it's super straightforward. You're just going to want to send a message to these business owners like, hey John, I was watching your YouTube video talking about X, Y, and Z. Sorry for coming in cold here, but I was interested in joining your team as an appointment setter or closer. If you have any spots open for setters that you're hiring, then I'd be happy to send over a video introducing myself to see if it makes sense for us to work together. Let me know if you're interested and I can send that over. The goal is to not try to get hired right away, not try to sell them something, not try to get on an interview even right away. It's to first show that you're willing to do an introduction of yourself and how you're actually going to appear working inside of one of these businesses by doing a video introduction. So when you start sending over this initial message to business owners, you're going to get some people that are like, yeah, sure, send a Loom video over. You're going to get other people that are asking you more questions. So they might say like, where are you based? What hours can you work? What does your experience look like? If you get questions like this, unless it's a really straightforward question, you can just answer the questions inside of your Loom anyways. And then obviously too, you're going to get some people that are saying like, nope, we're good on setters right now. We don't need any more. And so those people you kind of just like end the conversation there. You can maybe stay still in touch with them a little bit, but don't try to pursue anything too hard. The biggest thing that I want to cover in this video though is how to create really good loom videos. And I'm telling you right now, I've seen hundreds and hundreds of loom videos of people in the high ticket sales space for appointment setting, for closing. The bar of what is actually required to land a sales position for making good loom videos is so incredibly low. I've seen some of the worst looms that you could ever imagine. If you're literally able to be at least a tiny bit aesthetic on camera, you're able to talk good to the camera without stuttering and without messing up a bunch of stuff, and you have like some sort of clean background, clean drop, you're well put together, you're presentable. If you can do this, you will dust 90% of the competition because most people's looms are fucking terrible. Your goal with your loom videos is to make them about 60 to 90 seconds, and your goal is to stand out, showcase your personality and your communication skills, because again, you're like basically showing these business owners how you're gonna be selling for them. Keep it short, confident, and engaging. You're not trying to do too much. I've seen the craziest shit. I've seen people put like fucking music in their loom videos. I've seen people try to oversell themselves. Like, this is not what you're trying to do. I'll keep it super simple for you guys. The first thing that you want to do is you want to do a quick introduction for about 5 seconds. So you talk to them. You say, "Hey John, my name is Trevor. I'm based in Tampa, Florida, and I'm excited to absolutely crush it with your team." That's the intro. That's it. No more than that. Then you want to move into background and experience. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, "Trevor, didn't you say you're going to make this video for people who don't have experience?" I'll talk about that right now. Obviously, your experience will help you. So if you do have experience, you give a high level overview of that. So in certain offers, maybe you've worked with them for a certain amount of time. Maybe you've worked with specific industries. Maybe you've made a certain amount of money. Maybe you've achieved certain things. You've been the best setter on a team, for example. So you can talk about that a little bit. Again, if you have sales experience, this will help you. So obviously, if you do have that, mention that. But if you don't, it's totally okay. You can still land sales positions. If you don't have appointment setting or closing experience, you want to try to pull things from your past, things that you've done that are going to be a good reflection on you and your image. For example, if you worked as a waiter before and you had to constantly talk with people and take tips and all that stuff, that probably made you a good communicator. And so you're going to want to talk about that. Another thing as well is if you grew up and you did sports and you were really, really good at those sports, you want to talk about that, because obviously by doing sports, you build a lot of discipline, you build a lot of work ethic, a lot of persistence, stuff like that. These are all traits that people are looking for when they're trying to hire people. Another thing as well that I talk to my students about who come to me with no experience is I tell them to use the fact that they're in a high ticket sales mentorship and program to their advantage. Obviously, not every one of you guys is going to be in a program like this, but if you are in a program, whether it's mine or somebody else's, you want to talk about the fact that you're probably one of the best setters that is inside of that entire program, and you want to try to have some sort of thing that you can use to prove that. For example, in my program, we have like a full-blown certification. So if you pass that, that basically means you're an elite setter. And so you can use this inside of your loom videos. You don't necessarily say you've passed this like specific thing, but you can talk about the fact that you joined a mentorship that is full of like 30 to 40 other people and you graduated as one of the best ones. And then you can add in for why you think that that was the case is because, you have an athletic background doing sports, or because you worked as a server, or whatever it is. What you need to do is you need to think internally on things that you can use from your past to your advantage. And if you don't know, if you're totally drawing a blank on this entire thing, what I'd probably recommend doing is just having a conversation with ChatGPT and trying to ask it to pull things out from your past and things that you've done so that you can talk about some stuff here, because you do need to have experience to a certain degree, but you don't need direct appointment setting or closing experience. The reality is business owners are looking for people with experience because they're looking for the highest quality candidate. And so if you can show people that you have the characteristics of a high quality candidate, you are going to succeed. Now, the next thing that you want to talk about is why this company. So why did you decide to reach out to them specifically? Now, if you're stupid, you're going to say, "Oh, well, I reached out to you because I want to make money." What you more so want to focus on is you want to talk about research that you've done on their page, show that you understand their offer, show that you understand what these people do, mention specific connections to either the content that they're making, the vision or the purpose of their business, even some alignment to their prospects. So for example, if we go back to the AI example, if you are reaching out to some sort of course seller or guru that talks about AI automation as the best way to make money, and they sell coaching about that, maybe you can talk about the fact that you tried AI automation before and you failed with it. And so you're able to understand where their prospects are coming from that you're going to be selling to as a setter. Like, all of this stuff is going to be really, really good. Align yourself with the founder's team, business goals and all that stuff. Here's a really good spot as well to add in off of the back of this, your hunger level, why you're doing this, why this is important to you. And you can get vulnerable about that to show these business owners that you're going to come in and you're actually going to grind and you're actually going to succeed with this. So you can talk a little bit about both in terms of why you want to work with the business specifically in terms of what they do, but then also the fact that you're hungry and you're wanting to make money. And then you go into step 4, which is the call to action. You pretty much just wrap it up with a call to action. So thanks, John, for watching. I'm available to connect anytime after 5 p.m. Eastern this entire week or whatever suits you. We can jump on an interview. Looking forward to hearing back from you, and I can't wait to crush it with your team. And again, the barrier to entry with these Loom videos is so low. Like, you might think you got to make them perfect, and certainly there is a level of building your skills and making good Loom videos, but a lot of people just make absolutely terrible Loom videos. They either try to do too much or they're doing way too little, and they're not professional, they're not put together. This is all you need to do. You need to be professional. You need to not stutter like crazy. You need to follow a format like this where you're not going off on a tangent and making 3-minute, 5-minute Loom videos. And you need to be clear and concise. And that's really all business owners are looking for. I'm telling you right now, if you're able to make good Loom videos, this will be one of the best skills that you can ever use, because this will be valuable for you landing your first sales position as a beginner with no experience. But now imagine once you do have experience, and now you can better like sell yourself almost when you have this experience that you can use to your advantage for your second position, your third position, if you ever need to land more positions. So back a couple of years ago when the info space was still relatively new and when DMing was something that was still relatively new to people, you could literally just book in leads for 3 to 10K packages by only sending like 3 to 5 messages. And it was super, super easy. But now the industry is changing a little bit and it's getting a little bit more complex, to the point where you actually need to be good at what you're doing instead of just like literally. I saw some of the shittiest setters in the world start making really good money back in like 2022. Anyways, I digress. Booking leads to buy 3 to 10K packages now in 2025 headed into 2026 will not work if the conversation is only 3 to 5 messages long, especially if you're selling B2C, you're selling make money online, you're selling fitness. These people need to be set properly. They need to be nurtured. They need to be aware, and they need to be hot. And if they're not, there's no point in booking them in because they're not going to buy. And the goal is to book calls for business owners of people that are actually going to buy and they're going to show up to the call, not just booking calls for the sake of booking calls. So when it comes to the DM setting and also the phone setting framework, this is pretty similar. The first thing that you're going to want is North Star. Then you want to widen the gap. We'll talk about specific examples, don't worry. Then we want to talk about a time frame, dream outcome, struggle, time frame, widen the gap, urgency, transitioning to pitch help, pitch call, pitch calendar. And what you want to do is, by asking all these questions and following this framework, you want to leverage the emotions of the prospects that they tell you inside of the DMs to end up eventually booking them in. So the first question that you want to ask is about the North Star. And so the definition of this is the number one most important thing that the prospect is looking to either overcome. So maybe they're overcoming some sort of pain. Maybe this is for them losing weight, or they want to achieve. Maybe for them, it's not that they want to lose weight, it's that they want to hit a certain goal. Even though they might have to lose the weight to do that, maybe they're more focused on the goal. So examples for you guys watching this video right now, you probably want to quit your job. You probably want to travel the world. You want to be in control of your life and not having some like fat boss that's going to tell you what you can and can't do in your life. And so this is pretty much like what you're looking for. This is your North Star, just so you can kind of conceptualize like what other people are looking for. And examples of questions that you can ask to get people's North Star though is like, what made you want to reach out? What made you want to follow me? Where are you trying to take things in regards to X, Y, and Z? Or the prospect might mention it naturally, and then you can kind of move straight into question 2. I know my camera is blocking this a little bit, but you can see that there. Then we move on into question 2, which is all about just expanding on this North Star that they give you. So if you ask people, hey, what made you want to reach out? They might just say something as simple as, I want to lose weight. I want to make money. This is just a surface level answer. This isn't actually their real North Star. What you want to do is you want to expand on this, and you want to expand on this North Star. You want to create leverage, pain, and a better understanding of the prospect. So yeah, you want to make money, but why is that important to you? How come that's on your mind? Can you expand on that? What does making money, what does losing weight actually mean to you? In what ways do you want more of X, Y, and Z? In what ways do you want more money? Like, these are all really good examples of how you can expand on the surface level answer that they probably gave you for question 1. If they give you their entire life story in question 1, then you can kind of just skip question 2. Anyways, it's probably not going to happen most of the time. Then you move into question 3, which is the timeline. And the goal with this is to understand how long the North Star has been something that they've been thinking about or wanting. The longer the timeline, the more leverage you have, and the more likely it is that they're going to buy something. Because, for example, if you've wanted freedom for 3 years compared to wanting freedom for 3 days, you experience way more pain on a day-to-day basis because you've been wanting it for longer, which means that you have a higher likelihood of buying something to solve this pain as opposed to somebody who just recently discovered and had an epiphany that they want freedom in their life, right? So the longer the timeline, the more leverage you have as the appointment setter. Then we move on into question 4, which is all about the dream outcome. And again, if they've already given you their dream outcome, which could have happened in question 1, maybe they say, oh, I reached out to you because I want to make 10K per month. That pretty much like is their dream outcome. But in question 1, if they gave you, I'm looking to lose weight, I'm looking to stop being broke, that's not their dream outcome. That's them wanting to overcome some sort of problem. So this is only valuable if their North Star was like pain or something negative related. Then you want to get their dream outcome. So if their North Star was like, bro, I'm just fat and I feel like shit and I want to solve it, then their dream outcome might be, oh, I want to lose 20 pounds of weight. Do you see the difference? But if they gave you in question 1, I'm looking to lose 20 pounds of weight, then you obviously wouldn't need to ask this here. If their North Star was, bro, I'm just sick and tired of being broke, I know I can do better in my life and I know I'm meant for more, this is pain, this is negative. So then you want to ask them what actually is their goal. Obviously they don't want to be broke anymore and they're sick and tired of it, but where do they actually want to get tangibly in the next couple months? You want to ask for their dream outcome. So a couple of examples of things that you could get here is like true freedom, peace of mind, confidence, being able to help people, help family, etc., etc. Then we move on into question 5, which is all about the struggle or the problem. So questions 1 to 4 are pretty much just like making the prospect realize that they actually care and give a shit and that they need to solve their problem. Question 5 onwards for the rest of this appointment setting workflow is to make them realize that they actually need help to overcome this problem and that they can't do it on their own. And if you do this right, they will admit this here. So the definition with the struggle problem question is this is the reason why the prospect hasn't been able to make their dream outcome happen yet inside of their life. So example, James has been wanting to lose weight for 2 years, but he hasn't been able to accomplish this because his diet. Now, he might not know that it's his diet, or he might not even tell you that it's his diet, but you want to ask questions to try to pry out the fact that it is his diet that's holding him back. So, James, why do you feel like your dream outcome of losing weight for 2 years, you would want like a specific weight ideally here? This is just an example though. Why do you feel like losing the 20 pounds hasn't happened yet? I know you've been at it for 2 years. Like, what do you think is going wrong, my man? It's a really good question to ask. I'm curious. How come you haven't overcome this problem of weight loss yet? It's been 2 years. Like, be real with me. I'm on your team. Why haven't you been able to figure this out? You want to get them to understand and admit that they have some sort of problem that's holding them back from getting this dream outcome that they want. Then you want the timeline of the struggle. So for James, he's been trying to lose weight for the past 2 years and it's not been happening because of his diet. The longer that they've dealt with this struggle, for example, with James, his diet, the more leverage that you have to book them in. How long has this struggle been going on for? When did this struggle start? Okay, that makes sense, James. You mentioned your diet has been the biggest thing holding you back from losing the weight that you've been wanting to over the past 2 years. How long have you been trying to fix your diet? Oh, you've been trying to fix it for 6 months? That makes sense. So the longer that they've dealt with the struggle, again, the more leverage, the more pain that you have to your advantage, and the more likely it is that you can book in these people. Then you want to move into question 7, which is expanding and challenging their struggle even a little bit. So this can be really powerful if done right, and you have to use context clues in order to know if you should do this or not, but you can expand. How has this stopped you? So if your diet's been holding you back for the last 6 months, how has this stopped you? In what ways has this stopped you? What do you mean? Can you clarify? And then you can also do an optional challenge here. So this can be really powerful if done correctly. I would only do this if the person's actually open to talking with you and you're literally talking with them right now, you're using speed to lead and the person's responding back really quickly and you're responding back really quickly. Then you can do a challenge. Hey man, just be real with me. Why don't you just fix your diet? And you might get more serious, more personal information about these people, or they might just say I don't know how, and then that's kind of where your pitch comes into play. Then question 8 is your urgency. So only do this if you think the prospect is a great fit and is ready for help. Again, context really matters here. So if somebody has been really cold with you and only been giving you one-word answers, You don't want to go crazy yet. You don't want to ask them urgency and like deep questions, but examples of urgency is like, okay, so you've been wanting to lose weight for 2 years. You've been trying different diets for the last 6 months and it hasn't been working for you. I'm curious, like, what makes you want to change this now, like once and for all? How come it's important that you achieve this dream outcome now? Why now though? And depending on their level of their answers in the previous questions will determine whether you should stop here and not book them in if they're not a good fit. Again, you only book in people that are actually going to show up to the call and buy. Or if they give you really good answers here, then you can just go in and book them. So context really matters here. If it makes sense for you to book them in, you want to do some sort of micro commitment. This can be really, really powerful. So you want to get a micro commitment on if they're serious or ready for help. Examples of this should say micro commitment is, have you ever considered help when it comes to XYZ? If they say no, figure out the underlying objection that has stopped them in the past. Oh, you haven't ever tried for help or considered reaching out for help? Why? Oh, because you tried to do it on your own? Okay. How has that stopped you? And then you could even say something like, can I share a perspective with you that I think will help? If you continue using this logic of thinking that you can do it on your own for the rest of your life and never actually solving the problem because you think you can figure it out on your own, what consequences will happen in your life because of that? Oh, you'll never be able to actually solve your problem? Like you can go pretty deep with this stuff because you want to get a micro commitment. You want urgency. You want these things that are actually going to be good indicators that the people that you book in are actually going to show up to the call and buy. There's no point in booking leads that are just going to show up to the call, waste the business owner's time, waste your time because you're like hoping and praying that they're going to show up to the call and buy. It's like, this is all just a waste of time. So you need to actually ask serious questions in the DMs at this point. Then if it all makes sense, you pitch them, and this is the pitching phase. Basically, first you pitch help. Well, John, I can show you how I could possibly help you lose the 20 pounds over the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, whatever your program is, and achieve your dream outcome if you'd find that helpful. And then they'll say yes. And then it's like, okay, well, instead of just going back and forth over the DMs, let's get on a call and I'll break down with you how I usually work with people in your situation. Sound good? Then they'll say yes. Then you send the calendar link. I think the mistake a lot of people make too with pitching is they try to send this all in like one fat message, and it's just like, it's way too much. It's way too overwhelming. You want to use the yes bias. And the bias is basically that if somebody is saying yes to you and they've said it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, they're more likely to continue down the process also saying yes. So then you use pitch calendar. Let me drop my calendar link and you can just choose a time that works with you. Sound good? Again, we're doing a yes bait, if you want to call it that. And then you send them the link, like what works here. So this is pretty much like the question workflow and the messages that you should be sending either in the DMs as a DM setter or talking out loud as a phone setter. So the reason this stuff works so well, guys, is because we're not lying. We're not trying to put on this mask or this facade for somebody that we're not actually. You're not trying to sound like some expert that's trying to oversell yourself and promising some crazy outcome to business owners. You're just keeping it real. You're being authentic the entire time, and you're just doing what it takes. The reality is the info product space as a whole is changing very, very quickly, and most coaches, consultants, business owners, and experts don't have time to be able to understand these things at a very high level like I just broke down in this video. And two, as things change even more, they're not going to be able to keep up with it. So not only do they not have the time to manage their DM inbox and send the messages themselves, but they also don't have the time to be able to keep up with what's actually working in the space. And so as a byproduct of this, these business owners are literally lighting thousands of dollars on fire because they're not able to solve this constraint. This is why right now getting into high ticket sales is one of the best things that you can do, because number one, you're solving a massive problem in the marketplace. And number two, it's one of the very few things that if you keep going down the process and you eventually get into doing closing for yourself, which all of you should do, if you keep going though, you'll be in a position where you literally can't get replaced by AI. This gives you a skill that is full safe, foolproof, recession proof, AI proof that you can actually bank your future on. So yeah, I hope this helped for you guys. I hope you guys got some really good value out of this. If you guys have any questions about anything that I broke down, you can feel free to message me on Instagram. If you guys want to work with me as your one-on-one coach, you probably know where to find it at this point. It's somewhere in the description, so you can find that there. But yeah, guys, you guys take care and have a great rest of your day, okay? Peace.